Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and this is my companion page for the last one you saw, which was the Stone Mountain page with Billy and the mountain cut file. So this I want to be complementary and kind of the supportive pages for that one. So it's going to be a double page, and I'm just going to try to pull in some of the elements that were in the first one, but I don't want to replicate anything from the previous page because I really want that one to be like the main focal point for this day, and for these to just kind of be the extra pictures that I still wanted to document. So I'm starting out with this blue wood grain for both 12 by 12s, and now I'm just pulling in scraps from Heidi Swap's color Honey and Spice collection. So I had a lot of scraps of yellow and pink and green, and I really liked that collection because I had a lot of leftover ephemera and the sticker book from the Carefree collection, which complements this one really nicely. So I'm kind of just working with the scraps I have and trying to figure out how I can make this look like one long page. So this is kind of my go-to design when I have a double page. I really love using the same 12 by 12 background and just using like large scraps that can span across the seam to both pages. So that's really all I'm doing here. I started out with this yellow and white kind of tile looking layer to be a long horizontal bit to run across both pages and kind of anchor my big photo collage. So this is a great way to use multiple photos. I pretty much just took all the photos I had left of this day and put them all together. I know I've seen some people where they have their photo itself running across the seam, and I wouldn't mind that if it was a part of the photo that wasn't super important. But typically I like to have my photos completely on one side or another, but I still want it to look like one block. So I will just make sure the seam is going between two of the photos that I have here. So I'm having these two 4x6s stacked together on the edge of the left-sided page, and then this vertical 4x6 starting out that collage on the second page. So just a bunch of like things we did that day. So I went with my sister and my mom to Stone Mountain. I'm pretty sure we went for an arts festival. I forget which one is at Stone Mountain. It's like Yellow Daisy Festival or Cherry Blossom Festival or something. I can't remember which one it was. But since we were in the Stone Mountain area, we had to actually go see Stone Mountain. So the left-handed page is basically more pictures from us on top of the mountain with me and Billy. I couldn't help myself. I just felt compelled to do this Lion King pose, holding him up at the top. So that one was just for giggles. And then they have a petting zoo there too. So of course I had to get a picture with me and some of the animals. There's like a running joke in my family and friend group that if we go somewhere with animals, that's where I will be. So I have that picture there with me and the sheep as well. And then the two photos on the right-handed side, they have a lot of the old buildings and what they used to be used for and all of that. They kind of just have them kept as they were in that time period, so you can kind of see how they use the homes and everything. But the two houses that we were posing in front of in the right-handed photos are both houses that were on ghost hunters. So me and my family are really interested in that kind of stuff, and we love those paranormal shows. If we ever go anywhere that has any of the locations from those shows, we really like to get a picture with it. So this is actually, I think, one of the first locations we went to that we had seen on TV. So we just wanted to get some pictures in front of it. So that's pretty much what those photos are about. But I just wanted to add a couple more layers here. I had a decent sized chunk of this really light pink with yellow floral on it. So I just decided to have that as a large layer coming up a little higher over the photo blocks, just so everything could be kind of encompassed within those two layers. So it's just kind of playing with the proportions so that I can make it look like it's the size I need it to be. So I'm just trying to line everything up across that seam. And then those are kind of the main paper layers here. I really just want to add some more textural details, some more pops of color, and then some embellishment clusters after this. But this is kind of where I stopped with the paper. I just wanted there to be enough so it looked like all of the photos had a mat around them. So I'm just keeping it measured and making sure everything lines up since it's not one piece of paper, I'm kind of piecing together this mat with 4 different pieces. So I'm just using my ruler there, but I think I'm almost done with that. And then I think I'll go into embellishment. So I can't remember what I do first, so I'm just going to have to watch with you for a second to figure it out. Yeah, I think this looks nice as a base for the layout. I'm going through a couple more scraps to see if there's anything else I want to use from my Heidi Swap Honey and Spice collection, pulling out a couple cut apart pieces, and then I'll go into some other ephemera bits. I had some fussy cut flowers from one of the pages I was debating about using, but proportionally they just looked too large and didn't fit where I wanted them to fit, so I end up just looking through the cut aparts instead. I thought about adding some teal or some green, just because there is a lot of blue and green in these photos. I thought about these teal pieces, but one of the scraps I have for this collection, or actually is probably a leftover from the Carefree collection, is this green print you'll see a little later on, but I thought it really reminded me of the shirt that I'm wearing in these photos, so I'll end up switching out the 2 teal pieces with that pattern paper instead. But one of the cut aparts is this camera, so I felt like that's a nice focal point for one of the embellishment collages, so I went ahead and fussy cut the camera, and I'll pop that up on some foam. And I really like how it looks right there on that right-handed page, just as a focal point for one of the clusters. And I don't know if I pop that up on some foam now or if I'm going to keep looking for more ephemera bits. But I think I kind of get going more once I can look through the sticker book from the Carefree collection. I end up pulling a lot in from that. So one more time, looking through the paper pad to see if there's anything I want to use. I think this is where I find the green. There it is. So those 2 green scraps I really want to pull in. The green in those 2 photos with Billy and I on top of the mountain, the green is so green, and I really felt like I wanted to pull that out more in the page. So these green scraps I'll end up incorporating and switching out with the teal pieces, and I think that looks a lot better. And I just feel like that pattern goes so well with the shirt that I'm wearing. So pretty much going to replace them where those other teal pieces were. But I didn't really like how blocky the chunk on the right was looking, so I decided to trim that into a tag. That way it kind of had a design purpose, and it just wasn't another square piece of paper. So I'll do that too. And then here are the stickers from the Carefree collection and the sticker books and some more ephemera that I had left over that I'll start playing around with too. I really like these the colored dictionary stickers. I thought a lot of those colors were in the color scheme, so I definitely want to try to incorporate some of those, but I'm not quite sure how yet. I kind of need to figure out what my clusters are going to look like before I start pulling in word stickers, but I definitely know I want word stickers on this page. But I'm just kind of stuck here. I need some layery elements, but I didn't want to add more paper, so I went to a go-to, which was a doily. And I kind of wanted a larger piece that could fill in some of that space and kind of anchor into the camera. So I really like this size doily here for that, and I think that helps add a little bit more interest in another layer. So I'm just going to trim what I need from that. I don't have a lot of these larger doilies, so I am going to try and save what I can. I always joke that with my normal go-to doilies, I don't know why I got them because I have so many. But I really do only have a few of these larger ones, so I definitely want to save what I can from these. So I'm going to go ahead and get that glued down. And I really like how that helps fill up that space, but also kind of is my anchor for the start of that camera cluster. So I'm just going to trim off the overhang there, reline up my 2 pages, and I think that looks really cute. I'm going to go ahead and add some foam dots to this camera now that I'm starting to work on clusters. I know I want the camera to have some dimension, and then I'll add some other flat layers around it, but I think that's really cute. Especially when it's an element that's more muted, I think adding the foam dots to give it some dimension helps it not look so flat. So I like that. And now I think I'm going through the sticker book again. I really need to get those green pieces down, but I kind of haven't figured out yet how I want to incorporate them. I just know I want those green scraps on here somewhere. So I'm going through a couple of more of the sticker sheets. I hem and haw a lot on this page trying to figure out what to do. but I know the products I want to use. I just have to figure out the right pieces of each product to figure out kind of what I want to do. But this is where I decide to turn that into a tag. I love how tags look behind doilies, and that way it's kind of incorporated into the camera cluster, and so it's not adding a separate piece that kind of looks like it doesn't belong. So I'm turning that into a tag, adding a white hole reinforcer. I'll add some plain like baker's twine. That's just a neutral kind of creamy color. And I think that looks cute. Adds to the layeringness again, but it helps pull out that color a little more, which is kind of absent on that right-handed page. And then the other scrap that I have, I'm just going to add to the left-handed side of these layers, just so that green is kind of in two other areas so it doesn't look like it's out of place. So I'm adding a little bit to the top there and a little to the bottom so it looks like it's a longer scrap. But that way that color and that pattern are kind of in three areas. That way it balances out a little bit. So just getting that lined up, and then I think I go back to the sticker books to try to figure out again my clusters. Really struggling with what to do on my embellishment clusters. But I think once I find my baggie of ephemera, that kind of helps me get out of my lockjam too. The two solid green scraps, which are also scraps from the Carefree collection, I also wanted to pull in, just to pull more of that green in. So I trimmed a piece of it into a fishtail banner to come out from the camera, which I think gives me a really nice area to add one of those larger word stickers. So I'm just adding that peachy one there. That is the definition of adventurous, which I thought was appropriate because this was kind of an adventure day, and that page in particular where we're at the haunted houses. I thought that was kind of cool, and it helps tie in kind of that pinky peachy color of the floral. So I'm liking how that cluster is coming together. I definitely want a cluster kind of to the right-hand side of the right-handed page. And then I'm thinking where I added the larger green scrap to the left, I'll have a cluster there too. So now that I'm going through my ephemera pieces that are left over from the Carefree collections, I start pulling out things I want to use. And this is what really helps me get going on the embellishment clusters. I was kind of missing these smaller layery elements I could layer together to form what I was wanting to create. So now that I've pulled out these elements, I really like this Love, Record, and Remember circular piece. I think again that helps tie in the pink and the peach from the word stickers. I also like that it's circular, so it kind of ties back to the doily and the camera lens, and it's just another thing that's not boxy and square. But I do want to pair it with a couple things. So I'm going to layer this little blue tag here with that little circular piece that I added some foam dots on. And then again, I will add some baker's twine through that little tag as well. So both sides have a tag, but they're not identical. They're both different, but it kind of gives you that same look on each side of the page, which I think also helps bring in some balance. So I got my twine through that one, and I'm just going to grab a smaller piece to go through this blue side. I still have another scrap of the solid green, so I think I'm going to trim that into another fishtail banner to create my third cluster to the right side of the page. But I don't know if I do that yet. It's again just a lot of hemming and hawing and seeing what I want to add. Since I did add this blue tag to the left, I had this scrap of just like calendar days. It's like 1 through 31. That was a scrap of an ephemera piece, but it's that same blue color, so I wanted to add it to the opposite side of the page to help balance that little tag, and I think it adds some nice interest as well. And now I'm adding a couple more word stickers now that I have some more foundational layers of my cluster. So I have this blue piece that says "With Me Always." I'll end up going back and also adding another yellow sticker to that cluster that says "Vacay, Staycay," which I thought was appropriate because it was an adventure day, but we weren't leaving Georgia, so I kind of liked the idea of it being like a one-day little staycation thing where we just got to go and have a little adventure. Once I add that one, I think that's a cute touch too. But this is where I add that other green fishtail banner, another sticker from the sticker book in that peachy color that says "Always Take the Long Way Home." And now I think I'm going again through more of the sticker book to see what else I want to add. I really liked this frame. I thought that would be a cute layer to have in a couple clusters. So you'll see I'm cutting it into two pieces, and I'm just going to tuck it into this cluster here. and then to the upper right hand cluster. And I love frames just as an extra layery detail in these clusters, so I thought that was a nice detail to add. It's subtle, but I really like that layery look that it gives. And then this is where I'm going in with my other yellow sticker. And I think that's all the word stickers I use, but I do want to add kind of a finishing touch. And I was kind of stuck on what I wanted to do for that. I was thinking maybe enamel dots. But as I go through my stash, I see I still have some kind of mustardy yellow hearts from Freckled Fawn. So I ended up pulling those in too. But I think before I get there, I'm going to do my journaling really quick. I want it to be subtle, but I do want to kind of mention everything that we did today. So in the closest green I could find along the bottom of these photos, I'm just adding a little bit of journaling with the date. And it just says Lion King poses, petting zoo, perfect weather, and a ghost hunter's haunted locations with an exclamation point. And that way it kind of just covers everything that's on this double page, but I really don't think I need to go into too much detail. I think that's a good way just to kind of cover a lot. Then I think I'll go in with the Freckled Fawn enamel dots in a second. And I'm pretty sure that's my final touch. I really, after looking at this page, feel like I wanted to keep adding more, but everything I wanted to add just kind of pulled away from what I already had. So I don't know if I'll end up figuring out what else I want to add. But I added these 3 mustard hearts, one kind of in each cluster, and I think that was a really cute addition. So I think that's pretty much it so far. I'll see if I want to add anything else onto this page, but I think it's a nice little companion page to the last one that I did. So here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.